Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to this lesson. Now we are finally going to begin on the dialogue. Now, this is how it's supposed to look like, if not this, even better.
Come on. Seriously? You really cannot stop yourself from lying. Come on. Seriously? You really cannot stop yourself from lying.
So you're supposed to animate it to look like that, and as you can see, the main body poses really convey the emotions. Because I know maybe because you're starting out, you might think it's a good idea to start with the mouth and then go to the body, but generally you want to start with the body and convey the emotions, because when you're speaking you tend to speak with your own body. Like, that's why we say body language, right? Start because it gives you an indication of what the person is feeling or what the person is thinking. And this is why, as you can see, I'm not really the best artist, but this is why I had a couple of poses for the spikes in dialogue. So you normally add poses where you have like spikes. In this case, go ahead and load up the rig, whichever rig you're working on, and load up the reference audio. So this particular
come on. Seriously? You really cannot stop yourself from lying.
So go ahead and load it up. And yeah, let's begin. So as you can see, I do have a pose at I mean. So let's go back to this photo here. I mean, come on. You seriously cannot stop yourself. I think it's seriously, come on. Oh, I mean, come on, seriously. I'm even forgetting my own dialogue. You really cannot stop yourself from lying. That's why you can see on the last pose here, he's emphasizing the lying. So
From lying.
lying. So he's emphasizing the lying, right? And then it goes back to a neutral pose. So let's start by posing this character. You don't have to use these exact poses. I did go ahead and shoot my own video reference, and this is where I got these poses. So this is something I encourage you to do as well. Just go out there, pull up your phone, and actually, record some reference footage, and play it side to side. This is where I recommend having a second monitor as an animator, or even a third one, because it really helps to reference yourself on the other screen. You can import video files in Maya, but that's not a topic for today. But for this case, we're just going to be using this photo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my front view, and I'm going to import image plane. I'm going to say import image, and I'm going to import the dialog poses right here. And you don't have to use my poses. You can use yours. Just make sure you place the correct poses, or even add more at the points where the audio is spiking. Remember, at these points where it's high, this is where it's much more easier to convey what the character is feeling inside. So let's start with the first pose. And again, I did go ahead and create a selection set for the whole of the body. So mine includes all the arm controls. My arm is in the FK, meaning it is being rotated like this. Again, this is why I recommend you to do some basic rigging course, not only jumping into animation. At least it will help you understand when I say forward kinematics what I really mean. But what it just means is I don't have to move my arm using this control, where like if you move this, the whole arm is moving. So my arm is in FK right now, and as you can see, when I move this joint, everything moves. When I move this joint, this one independently moves from the first joint. Same case with the wrist, right? So that's forward kinematics. But for the legs, I like to leave them at IK, because you're not just swinging, you're also raising your feet up and down. As you can see, that is forward kinematics, right? So I have all of these controls, that the rotation controls for the arm, for the body, and the IKs, and this one's for the legs as well. This one's for the shoulders as well. I have them under that selection set. So let's start by creating the first pose. So I mean, this is the first pose.
Come on. Come on. Come.
Come on. So I mean is the first line. So let's go up to here before everything else begins. So he's in a neutral pose. I mean, so let's take him. Let's see. I know what we can push. Let's go to the tracks editor and push this dialogue a little bit further. Let's start it a little bit earlier. I feel like it's starting way too late.
I mean, come on.
So so let's key everything in the body and start by posing. I'm going to bring this one forward like that. So be sure you don't clip. Again, use all of your controls. Push this forward a little bit. And then push this a little bit towards the chest that way. Feel like that's okay. Be careful of how your joints are rotating. You don't want weird deformations. And the arm is in a neutral pose, so I'm going to select everything here. Even the arm, even the finger controls are under the selection set. So again, make sure you do a proper job when creating the selection set. What is this? Oh, I selected the shoulder, but the chest, the lower chest control. As you can see, really nice finger controls there. It's giving us a very natural curve. Let's see, suppose this. I do think these ones were not on these selection sets. So might have to add them. I think they were not on the selection set. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select them. And for my selection sets, by the way, this is where maybe I should talk about the difference between mine and yours. I'm sure for you guys, you created the set, quick select set, but sometimes it's buggy. So what I ended up doing is just open up my outliner. As you can see, these are your selection sets. Let me, oh, the outline is so big. Maybe shrink that down a little bit. So for this case, where is the ray body? So this is everything under the body, right? So if I was to open up my script editor here and clear out everything, remember that everything you do in Maya is generated as a script. So this is how you can learn, also teach yourself scripting. But I'm going to clear out everything. And what I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and do that, clear out. Let's select the first control and the last one. And let's add this, this, and this. And also do the same thing for this other arm. I feel like also I might have missed these ones as well. This, and this, and this. And yeah, do I think I need to add anything else? I don't think so. So I'm just going to highlight everything. You can press Ctrl A alternatively, and then we'll mouse drag it onto the shelf and call it a mail. Now, I don't know why my edit button is not popping up. It had popped up as a big window. It's not showing up anymore. But when there's an option to edit the icon name. So alternatively, I can just use this one, right? Only that if I figure out why it isn't popping up, just it's one of those bugs in Maya. So yeah, I'm going to use this one alternatively. So let's just press S to make sure that everything is now keyframed properly. But let's pause the other arm, because that's how I was able to edit this and call them the proper names. But let's do the same thing here. Now I know this one is resting on this, so I'm going to slightly, let's raise that a little bit. This other one is below there. Let's can see it's really on the body there, man. Let's drop down this shoulder a little bit as well. And let's pose this properly. Don't worry, we can adjust. Don't want it to clip. Don't want it to clip. I think this one can be raised up to avoid the clipping of those two arms. And then for this one, we could just, rotate it that way, rotate it this way. Again, remember not to clip. Then at this point, just select everything there. Make sure you deselect the things that you're not using and rotate, curl the fingers back. Again, this is such a nice, the rigger did really a good job. And I'm going to pose this thumb properly there. Again, avoid clipping, maybe raise that up and then, oops, let this down like that. And maybe, can just be curved like that downwards. I assume it's resting downwards there. And again, there's so much clipping on the arm towards its chest, so let's try and fix that. Again, be careful of the elbow because I can see it's kind of popping there, so be careful you don't run into those kinds of things. Again, this is one of those things where I would say it depends with the shot. If the camera is really close up, if it's really not, in this case, I know it's a far away shot. It's not something that is going to be so recognizable like the clipping. So don't stress yourself out so much in trying to perfect it. But I think we can do a good job. Maybe raise that so that his elbow seems like it's lying like that, and I think that looks proper. And for the legs, I can see his legs facing the other side. So I'm going to select his leg control, push it a little bit. I don't know, it's slightly. And it's a good practice to balance out your poses. In this case, he's probably leaning this way. So maybe push him a little bit down to curve his knees like that. And if he's moving that way, that means his upper body is, like if he's falling towards this way, that means his upper body is going this way. So it's just good practice to always, follow. It's a principle called follow through and overlap, where the last things, the appendages, in this case your head, your chest, tend to be the last. So plus you want him to look balanced. You can press 7 to look at him in this lighting to see whether the pose looks balanced or not, because you don't want him to look like he's falling. So, and since the chest is moving towards this side, his head again is the last thing he should be moving, maybe, and he's supposed to be facing somewhere down there because he's like angry and stuff, right? So see, that's the first pose. Let's select this one. So the next pose is come on. Come on. Now, make sure you hold this pose in place, meaning use a holding frame. That just means hold this pose. Don't start posing, because if you start posing here, it's going to... Let me pause and show you what's going to happen anyway. Let's just keyframe. Let's mark on the arms again. Let's open them up. And again, it's one of those things where I could say just zero stuff out. It's just quicker. Instead of you don't want to run into gimbal lock and stuff. Just zero out where you're going. It's a gimbal lock where you're going into values that are absurd. As you can see, this arm is clearly rotated way too much, and you don't want that. And now I'm not selecting and zeroing out everything because I want to maintain the legs, kind of the leg poses. I think we could add everything here and just deselect this. Same case for this other side. Control Shift, by the way, then Control to deselect. And I think it's just a matter of rotating everything again. Now the arm is open. These ones are also need to be zeroed out. And yeah, I also think for these chest controls as well, like you can also zero them out and straighten him. So let's check this pose, which is come on. Come on, come on, come on. So, and most of animation is just this posing and stuff. So, you know, and I can see my arm is already twisting weirdly. So that just means let's look at my elbows are raised up because he's kind of becoming tense. So it's ka. That is, why is that? I think we can, pause this. I think for you it's just a matter of widening, because it's like, come on. So his arms are really, like asking the question, come on, come on. Why? You seriously cannot stop yourself from lying. I'm sure you've had a liar in your life. So, the feeling of being lied to. So you can tell that this guy is clearly not happy about this guy lying so much. So come on. I feel like the elbow could go a little bit up. The arm, of course, looks weird like that. I think that's better. And I think I did not mention you should have another camera, the one that you want to view in, already propped up. So we're going to do that in the next lesson. But again, raise this elbow because he's tense. Come on. Let's open up. Let's flare out. So open up the fingers. And for the thumb, that seems to be doing a better job. And like just have a slight bend like that. That makes the pose look way nicer. Like that. Come on. No. Stretching out the fingers a little bit really helps them stand out. As you can already see, it looks like he's really, and maybe is this a little bit. And you want to avoid twinning, where one side looks exactly like the other side. So going to maybe drop that one a little bit, or maybe, maybe push this one a little bit forward. And come on. I think at this point he's looking at the camera and his head should be straight. And I've noticed that also the head control is not in that. So let's look at where all the poses are. Okay. Now, as you can see, the head control was not in that selection set, so it wasn't keyframed. Right? You want to hold this pose. This is what now I was saying, right? So And also the leg is back, so the leg seems to be like has brought itself back, and he's more raised like this. I feel like he needs a curve where maybe he's bending towards this way, and then his upper body is swinging, swinging towards this way, right? Maybe his head tilts a little bit down, and it's more of a confrontational pose. You can press 7 to see whether your pose looks more convincing. 7 is just the unlit mode, so maybe pose this a little bit, maybe push the chest a little bit that way. Just try to sell it. Again, he's falling towards this way, so his upper body will tend to move in the opposite direction, right? Let's pause that. Like, come on, let's key everything. So that's the come on. Now there's one stuff I was saying, you should hold your poses. You don't want it to be moving like all like this, animating all the way through, right? And the come on needs to be so instant. Come on. So what I'm going to do is but the time is ending main. This is where I'm going to middle mouse click on this pose here, and I'm going to press S. Again, so the head control is not in that selection set, so I'm going to also press S. As you can see now, it's more instant. Like, come on. Again, if you feel like it's a little bit too instant, we could just Control Shift and click and push this for pose backwards. And also remember to also push the head one backwards as well. Oops, and I come on. Right? You want to be holding your poses, right? Like, make sure you have a hold and then release and then go to the next pose, because if you don't, the animation is going to start looking floaty where it's just constantly moving, which is something that really doesn't happen. Of course, you're constantly in motion, but that is why we have something we call moving holds, where in this next pose maybe your pose is moving. But I'm going to leave you guys to continue posing, and in the next one we are going to continue posing with the other poses. Probably you guys as well will have already done it, since you've already gotten the gist of it. So see you in the next lesson.